if you want, but really no pressure, only if you want. Catanians. This is probably the very first Cities and Nights with Greater Catan scenario that I've been able to bring you guys and gals in an online match setup. So we had just 3 players on Greater Catan, and what do you know, Green right off the bat just like decides to dip out early. And I don't blame them, because if y'all even consider sticking around for a little while, I'm going to be here for over an hour in this video. Yes, my first Catan video where we play for over an entire 60 minutes. So Green was like, I don't want any of that. Although I don't understand why, because Green had a great first starting settlement placement on the 8 lumber, the 4 ore, and the 9 sheep. And his road is questionable, and obviously now you see it's a road going to nowhere. He should have pointed it over to the ore port on the 8 lumber, 10 wheat. That's just my opinion. But Purple is like, you know what? We're going to stick this game out. It's going to be a good one. We'll see what happens. We are playing to an incredibly sky-high 20 victory points. So yeah, just get your popcorn or get your honey barbecue Frito twists or your zebra cakes or whatever, and get settled in if you're going to watch all the way through, because this one's a nice long one. If it was 4 players and just the time it takes for each player to take their turn in an online match, this game might have been closer to 2 hours. Who knows? So I go ahead, I build my city on the 8 lumber and the 10 wheat, and I take that ore port because my starting settlement is on an 8 ore. So I'm thinking that it's going to be very easy for me to get a knight and activate it very early on because of the setup I have. So right now I'm just hoping for an 8 and then a 9 to be rolled, and then I'm good to protect my first city on the board. And Purple, I guess we'll analyze them since they're the only other human player on the board. They go very smartly for their starting settlement on the 4 or 5 wheat, 9 sheep, and the 5 wheat is their only source of sheep as well. Actually, I also have a 10 wheat as my incoming supply of wheat, so that is very nice to have. And then down at the bottom of your screen, it's a little cut off, but they built on the 10 ore, and I think it was a 6 lumber. So that is very nice for them, getting some paper coming in every time a 6 is rolled, as well as on a lumber. And here we go. Let me turn on the game audio. I don't know why I had it off initially. I had it the phone on vibrate, but I was like, let me turn the ringer on so we can get some in-game audio, because we're gonna be here for a little while. Let's have a little something in the background for your viewing pleasure, yeah? Because the last Catan video, for some reason, the audio wouldn't come through in the editing, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully it comes through in this one. So I get my starting knight out on the board, activate it, so now I am safe from the barbarians. Green also has one knight activated, a level 1 knight. Rarely do you ever see someone get a level 2 knight out on the board before the barbarians initially attack for the first time, but it does happen. It very well does happen, and usually whoever can do that ends up getting Defender of Catan when the barbarians first attack, and they get a nice quick little jump ahead with to 4 victory points from that Defender of Catan victory point initially. So a nice little kickstart for that, whoever can do that. Now, Purple also throws down a level 1 knight, so we all at this point are going to win a progress card of our choice if things keep going this way. But, you know, me being a sneaky, unorthodox kind of person, I'm like, I have 3 ore and 1 wheat. If I get another wheat, I could upgrade my starting settlement to a city and thus push the barbarian strength to 4, while the knights are only at 3, as they get science level 1 on the green city improvements. And I could force the barbarians to successfully invade the Greater Catan Island, and then force each player to burn a city back to a settlement, have it destroyed. And then, but because I built 2 cities in this what-if scenario, then I would get to keep 1. And this is kind of this strategy will really get you blacklisted very quickly. All the players will be like, we're not going to trade with that guy. He screwed us all over, and we're going to shut him down at almost every turn. I've had it happen to me before a lot if I pull this off. And I do have the cards currently right now to do it. And you see the Barbarians are very close to attacking. And now they just moved again. So potentially, purple could roll the Barbarians in. So I'm like, let me do this strategy, not just to screw everyone over, but I'm definitely going to have to destroy a city. So I actually want to flip-flop what I had starting out. I actually want to keep the city on the 9 sheep, 8 ore, and the 5 wheat instead of the 8 lumber, 10 wheat, because I can now get cloth and coin from the 9 and the 8 respectively. And yeah, I won't be getting paper, but that's okay because I'm sure not, that far into this game I'll be able to get that city that was destroyed back into a city. So that's exactly what happens. Everyone burns the city, including me, but that's okay because now I feel I'm in an optimal position with my settlement and city in this scenario rather than having it flip-flop like I had to start out with. Because usually that's how it goes. When you are placing starting cities and settlements and cities and knights, you usually want to place your settlement on a spot that you really, really want. Because if you wait to try to place your city on there, chances are someone else is going to take that really good spot because they're like, I have to claim this now as a settlement. That way I can be sure I can upgrade that settlement to a city later rather than waiting and building somewhere else. And then when it comes around for my city placement, that spot's probably already going to be taken. And then you're really going to be having a hard time because your setup then in that scenario is probably not going to be very good or as good as it could have been. Now we only have one barbarian to defend from, and what do you know? I have my level 1 knight activated, so things are looking pretty good this game. Now, of course, if you haven't played the Greater Catan scenario, you're probably wondering, Dupinator / Unorthodox Master Games, what's with all these blank resource hexes all around the main island surrounding it? Well, I believe the first 5 that your ship touches, you discover a randomly generated number. And then on the 6th one that anyone discovers, you have to pull a number off of the main island. So, for example, let's say the 6th hex that's discovered is, I don't know, the sheep hex in the top left corner of your screen. Let's say I discover it. Then I have to pull a number. It doesn't let you choose any number on the main island. You're not allowed to choose 6s and 8s and 2s and 12s at first, I believe. So it would give me an option to choose a number from the main island that I'm built on. So I'm only built on 5 of them, the 8, the other 8, 9, 5, and 10. So I would have to probably pull the 9, 5, or 10 off of the main island and put it on that sheep hex in the top left corner of the screen if that's one that I discover after the initial 5 that you discover. So the strategy with that is if you have to pull a number off the main island, you want to pull a number off that someone else is also built on. You don't want to pull a number off that only yourself is built on. You don't want to screw yourself over. You want to screw someone else over and make it harder for them to continue progressing in the game. So I would pull that 5 off in a heartbeat, and because purple would now be struggling for wheat, they would basically have no wheat coming in because that's the only wheat hex they're built on. Now, of course, because it's cities and knights, in this particular scenario with Greater Catan, I want to rush to get the science bonus, sure, you could say as quickly as you can, but in this game, you want to start trying to get the science bonus right around the time that people start, discovering these new hexes and start getting those first 5 randomly generated numbers on there. Maybe around the 3rd new hex that's touched by a ship, you're going to want to really be close to getting that science bonus, because once people start pulling numbers off the main island, if you don't have the science bonus, you better have some really good yellow progress cards or blue progress cards or green progress cards coming in, because you're going to be having a huge cut in resource production, essentially, or potentially. So I trade in, get my 2 cloth, upgrade that. So I'm on my way. You just want to really push for those city improvements as much as you can in any Seafarers expansion with Cities and Knights, but especially Greater Catan, because like I said, once these numbers start flying off the main island, it's very cutthroat. But for now, everything's pretty calm. No one has gone out to a new hex yet, although me and Purple are 1 ship away respectively. We're each actually going to be touching a ore hex first, it looks like. Me at the top of the screen and Purple at the bottom right. So that's pretty exciting. Now, Green, being the computer, they end up getting their city back on the board. So now I kind of have to monitor that, because remember, it's always a race, even from the very beginning, to see who can get what Metropolis first. And usually when someone gets, let's say, the green Metropolis, it's very hard for someone else to steal it from them. And the way the computers operate in the Catan universe is that they will build a bunch of knights. They will always use Deserter on you. They will go for a certain Metropolis, and they will stop at nothing to upgrade that to the level 5 city improvements of that color. So you got to be very careful that you don't have the computer kind of sneaking up on you while you're trying to expand out and build out to these surrounding islands. Well, in the meanwhile, they don't even care about going out there. They're just worried about getting a Metropolis. Now, one thing that I'll say with computers in Catan Universe, you can exploit the trades with them like crazy. Basically, anytime the computers offer you a trade, let's say they want to give you 1 lumber for 1 of your wheat, you just always double down on the trade, meaning ask instead for 2 lumber for your 1 wheat. Chances are, if they have it, they definitely give it to you. I don't think I've ever had a situation where if they didn't have it, if I was knowing what resources coming in for each player, then they didn't give it to me. They always, if they have it, they're gonna give you 2 for 1. Just always remember that. Someone leaves early in the game and they their color turns into an AI. Exploit the trades with that AI, because getting 2 for 1, you almost are not going to get that with human players most of the time. They're always going to be wanting more, and you're always going to be giving the least amount possible. So you always have that constant battle. So it always ends up being like a 1 for 1 trade, unless it's like a resource that's really, really rare that you have. Then they'll pony up and pay an extra 2, sometimes 3 resources for that particular rare resource that you have. But the computers, 2 for 1 all the time. Every once in a while, the computers will throw you, they'll accept a 3 for 1 counter offer that you offer. It just depends. If they have a 3 for 1 port, they're not going to do that. But if they don't, and they don't have a specific resource port for the resource that they're offering you, you can double up, sometimes even go 3 for 1. So just keep that in mind. So a 4 is rolled. Of course, I'm not built on a 4. I did discover a 3 on that ore hex at the top of your screen. So Barbarians are about to come back in. It looks like I'm going to get Defender of Catan once again. And I'm still at 3 victory points. Oh, that's right. We all tied last time. Right. I was going on earlier about sometimes people can activate their knight to a level 2 knight before the first initial Barbarian attack, but I was just speaking in general. I only had a level 1 knight. So if I usher in the Barbarians, which I do, but I roll a 6, which I don't have, so of course Purple is going to benefit from that. I'm going to go ahead and grab the Defender of Catan victory point. And like I said, it's nice to get 1 here or there, but it's kind of like drawing a victory point card from the development card stack in basic Catan. It's good to have, but it doesn't really help you with building other things on the board. So just keep that in mind. You also have to, resource production is, that and upgrading your city improvements are just very, very vital. And now we get some more cloth. We're at 3 cloth. I should be getting the yellow bonus here, trade bonus soon. I just noticed that purple upgraded their green city improvements to level 2, so they are very close to getting the science bonus. And it looks like they built a ship instead. Now they go ahead and go over to that small island to your right. So instead of discovering a number on the ore hex, they go ahead and they go one more and they discover a number on the brick hex. And it looks like they're in a prime position to build a settlement on that 6 brick with the lumber port, and they're on a 6 lumber, and it's been very hot. So very, very smart strategy for them to do. And maybe after they build on that 9 brick hex, if they're actually going to build on it, then they might start working their way up to the other, big island at the top of your screen with the lumber hex and the ore hex. But I don't know why they went to discover a number on the brick hex. I think they should have just kept going up to the lumber hex, because it looks like they're going to build on the lumber port, so that makes more sense. Brick it's kind of useful building city walls and settlements, but beyond that, it doesn't look like they're building any roads. They have their initial road off their initial settlement, but then again, they aren't on a brick hex, so I do get it. But we'll see what happens here. We'll see what happens with that. Now, green seems to have... Oh, wait a minute. I am now at level 2 on the green city improvements. So I'm tracking with purple. We're both, on track to get the science bonus here in the next, 5, 6, 7 turns. So that should be good for both of us. And 4s are decently hot this game. So I'm seeing that green and purple are benefiting, but green benefiting more by getting coin off that 4 ore in the middle of the screen. Now, I guess 10s were also pretty good, because purple just got the politics bonus, level 3 on the blue city improvements. But thankfully an 8 is rolled. Too bad the robber is on my 8 lumber, but that's okay because we do have spy. And we see that purple and green both have progress cards. I'm going to look at purple. Thankfully, they have warlords, so I'm going to use it for myself, because every once in a while, even though you have 2 wheat hexes, the 5 and the 10 were just not bringing me much at all. So I just wanted to go ahead and get the knights activated now. And then if I do get a 5 or a 10, and then the barbarians are still not attacked, I can move the robber off my hex and then reactivate it with that wheat that I got. But 4's going out once again. So even though purple got the politics bonus, I got a feeling the green's got a lot of coin, and they should be pretty close to getting the politics bonus as well. If you can get the bonuses from the city improvements pretty early on, that's just gonna help your long-term gameplay that much more. Considering the trade bonus, trading in any 2 of the same commodity at a 2-for-1 rate is just very, very nice to have in some crucial, mid-game situations. I'm especially thinking about if you're in a position where you're battling another color for settlement placement on a main island, and you need trade in cards for a certain resource you don't have, and you can just trade in 2 commodities because you had the trade bonus for that other one of the 4 resources you needed for the settlement, and then hop in that whatever spot that is and steal a settlement place from someone mid-game. I think that's very, very important to think about. So we see that 2s and 3s haven't been rolled that much, but 4s have been rolled the most out of any other numbers, so that's just crazy. And a 12, of course, a 12 gets rolled. I don't even know where. I think the 12 is on that sheep hex down at the bottom of your screen near that 3-for-1 port on the 3 wheat. And what do you know? Another 4 gets rolled. Thankfully, I do get a progress card. It is crane, but I'm going to have to wait for some more commodities to come in to actually be able to use that. So now I have a choice here. I do have lumber and a sheep to build a ship, and I'm gonna go ahead and build that ship. But I could have traded those to the other two colors with commercial harbor, and they would have given me a commodity in exchange for each of those resources that I gave to each color. But I decided to, just discover another hex out there, and at this point I'm kind of, I'm trying to get a Metropolis, but at the same time I'm also trying to build on the, island off of the main island so that I can get myself more solidified out there, because I know that numbers are going to start coming off this main island, and you don't want to be in a situation where you just have blank hexes on the main island and you're struggling to get some resource production going. So I have a nice setup out there that I can build on. It's all right. It's a 3 ore and a 5 wheat. And amazingly, purple uses the inventor and switches the 9 and the 4. So I'm like, well, thank you very much, because 4s are the most rolled number so far in the game, and you just gave it to me in green. And for whatever reason, they wanted the 9. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And crazily enough, green's going to build 3 roads and take longest road, so good for them. But if I get, wedding, or I currently have saboteur, I could just make them lose cards. So they've just sprung ahead of everybody in victory points. But it really doesn't mean much. Yeah, sure, they have longest road, but in the long term, it's all about metropolises and cities and stuff like that. Once you get so built up that you have so many resources and commodities coming in, you can take longest road late in the game, no problem. So they can have it for now. That's no problem. I'm going to have a Metropolis instead. Keep in mind, we are at the 22-minute mark in this video. I have a Metropolis, but we are only a little over a quarter of the way through this game. Isn't that crazy? Cities and Knights games just take a long time. Now we see that Tenacious texted us, and then we also see the Barbarians are now one dice roll away from invading. I am all good to go. I have 4 knights on the board, 4 knight strength rather. Purple has 2 knight strength. Their level 1 knight is not activated. Green just keeps building knights but doesn't activate them, because for whatever reason, that's what the computers do. They just build a bunch of knights on the board, or they use Deserter and steal your knights, and then they just don't activate the knights. I don't know why they keep up. They just upgraded one, so they could easily get Defender of Catan, but they just choose not to activate their knights, or they're not getting wheat. I don't know why they are programmed to do that, but hey, that's what the developers wanted when making the Catan universe. I roll a 7. I could move the pirate ship over on the purple, but I see the robber is on my 8 ore, and I really don't want it on the 8 ore anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and move it, so that way some coin can come in, because I do have the yellow Metropolis, and before I get another Metropolis, and what do you know, I actually do steal a coin, so that's very cool. Before I get another Metropolis, of course, I have to build another city on the board. If you have just one city and a Metropolis already on it, you can't get another Metropolis until you build a second city on the board. That's how it goes. I've seen people mistakenly do that, just like they mistakenly in Basic Catan build all 5 of their settlements, and then they build 2 more roads and try to build a 6th settlement, and then they just get very confused and usually start asking people in the chat, why can't I build another settlement? And they're like, well, you already built all 5 that you were allotted at the beginning of the game, so now you have to upgrade one of them to city, and then maybe you can build another settlement on the board later. It's just funny that every once in a while you do still run into novice players and playing Catan Universe online, so that's always interesting to come across. So, I'm really trying to get a city on the board, but I'm also trying to get on that 3 or 5 wheat. A 2, I don't know why 2's are getting rolled. Thankfully no one's built on them, because that just will be absurd to get cards off a 2. Purple activates both of their knights. They use Spy, probably going to use it on me. Are they going to take Bishop? Yes, of course. Bishop, I love Bishop, especially when there's 4 people playing and 3 of the other players are built on one of the same hexes, and I can just shut them all down and take 3 cards with Bishop. Very nice to do. But of course it goes on the 8 lumber, so I won't be getting a whole lot of lumber. What do you know, 8 gets rolled, but I do get some ore and coin coming my way, so that's nice. And now I'm at 2 coin. I can't get the blue Metropolis though, so I really got to try to see if some 5s can get rolled, maybe another 8. And I get closer to getting another city on the board. Purple did take longest road from green, or longest shipping route, technically, if you go by the Seafarers rules, or the descriptions. And they did, I still don't really know why they wanted to discover a number on that brick hex, but now they're going to go up towards the lumber and ore hexes as I predicted. And every once in a while, I look back in the game log if I have resource monopoly or trade monopoly in my hand, so I can try to effectively steal resources from people, or at least steal just enough to where I can build whatever it is I'm trying to build. And I do actually trade in to get 2 paper actually, and use Crane so I can get to the science bonus. And I always don't like to trade in commodities that I could use to upgrade to the next, city improvement of that color. But because, this game having the science bonus is especially critical, so you can really get some things going with getting on the new islands, and then right now for me getting another city on the board when I'm in a crucial moment here, because I only have 4 different numbers. I have a 4, 5, 8, and 10 at this point. I did have the 9 earlier, but it got switched to a 4. So having only 4 numbers, you really, really absolutely want to get the science bonus as quickly as you can. So now me and Purple have the science bonus. Purple has level 3 on the blue city improvements, so they have the politics bonus. And then I also have the politics bonus. So it's all kind of neck and neck with the commodities race. Thankfully, I am already holding on to the yellow Metropolis, so I actually don't have to worry about knights, but it just so happens that it's nice to keep winning Defender of Catan, to have those extra victory points coming in every once in a while. And I am able to move the robber off my 8 lumber, reactivate that knight, and it looks like we're in a good position to tie Purple for Defender of Catan, so at least we'll get a progress card. If I can at least tie with another player so they won't win Defender of Catan, it won't win that extra victory point, I'm also cool with that. That just holds them back just a little bit so I can keep progressing in the game. And I have Merchant, I have Saboteur, but I am ahead in victory points, so I just hope Saboteur does not get stolen from me with Spy and then used on me right after that. But honestly, if someone had Spy, they would take Merchant over Saboteur. I am certain of it. But an 8 gets rolled, the Barbarians advance, but I get some coin or lumber, but not quite paper. So I do get 3 cards off the 8. That is very nice. A 9 gets rolled. I don't have a 9, but I have the science bonus, so I will be taking a card of my choice. And I'm going to take a wheat, probably, so I can get that city out on the board. And Merchant is also very nice to have, because I do have the 2 lumber. Oh, I take a brick instead. What do you know? So I use Saboteur because Purple is now with me at 7 victory points, and they're going to burn some cards. I'm going to build a ship, and then I'm going to use that brick that I took with my other resources to build a settlement. So now I'm officially getting off the island. My end goal is to now take as many numbers with me as I can so that the main island becomes so dried up and barren of resources that the other players really struggle. That, I think, is the ultimate screwing over of opponents in Catan universe, especially in the greater Catan scenario, because that's the only scenario that you can pull numbers off the main island and just leave a blank resource behind. It is very, very satisfying to do. But we haven't discovered enough new hexes yet to be able to do that. There are currently 3 hexes that have numbers on them off of the main island. So 2 more hexes, and then we will be able to start pulling numbers off of the main island. All right, Green's turn. They're back behind at 4 victory points since Longest Road was taken from them. Now I take a wheat, and now I will be getting that city very, very soon. But then what do you know? Dip Bishop happens, takes from me. Then Resource from Monopoly takes my other wheat. Green also gets the blue Metropolis. I'm like, wow, what a sequence of events. Thankfully, this 5 does net me 1 wheat. My other 5 is shut down. What a bummer. At this point, I'm kind of stuck because I could put my merchant on the ore hex, but if I trade in 2 ore for 1 wheat, then I'll be down to 2 wheat and 2 ore, and I won't be able to get the city. So I'm like, kind of have to wait another round of turns to be able to get that city. So I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll just use Diplomat, take a road away from green, because I can't take one away from purple, because purple has a knight on the end of their ship system, if you will. A 6 gets rolled, science bonus coming my way. Keep in mind that purple does get lumber and paper off that 6, and everyone wants that green Metropolis because that is the only one left to take that no one has taken yet. So I'm really hoping for a city that I can get on the board so that 8s can start getting rolled. I can start getting paper off those 8s. Although this whole time, green has been able to get paper off the 8s when it's not been shut down, because it's been shut down a decent amount. 4, all right, now the 4s are rolling in. Thank you, purple, for giving me that 4 earlier. Now I just have to wait for green to shut me down. Thankfully, I had 4 ores, so now they do take an ore, but I'm down to 3 ore. And a 7 doesn't get rolled, a 9 does. I will take a resource of my choice, but the city is mine. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Put it right on the 8 lumber and the 10 wheat. So now we're kind of back in business here. Activate my knight, because I'm going to want to protect that, newly built city from the barbarians, as well as hopefully next turn get the robber off of my 8 ore. I know the 8s are very hot. Of course they're going to get shut down, so you have to keep that in mind. Whenever you build on an 8 or 6, and then especially if you have a city on an 8 or a 6, other players, when they roll a 7, they're going to be looking at your 8 or 6 with the city on it first compared to any other number on the board. I don't care what expansion you're playing. So keep that in mind. There is a nice reward for building on the 8s or 6s, but there's also a risk of them getting shut down and staying shut down for a good amount of the game. I can't tell you how many games I've played where an 8 or 6 that I've been built on stays shut down for most of the game, and you just have to watch that number get rolled over and over and over like 5 times, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I could have gotten 5 of that resource or 10 of that resource if I had a city or 2 settlements on that 8 or 6. So very, very frustrating when that happens. 8 gets rolled. I do get some coin and ore coming my way, so hopefully I can get I can't get that blue Metropolis so easily now. I do have to steal it from green, so I'm gonna have to see if I can get the green Metropolis as my next big move here in Catan. I keep in mind I still have the merchant on the wheat. I have another merchant in my hand. Of course, Deserter is going to be used on me, and purple is going to get a very nice knight. Although, they already had 2 level 2 knights, so they can't have another one. But I think if they already have 2 level 2 knights on the board and they steal one of mine, I think they're allowed to put a level 1 knight on the board. But I'm not quite sure on that one because I can't see. My progress cards are blocking whatever it is they have going on down below on that 6 lumber if they did place a knight somewhere down there. Now at this point, I really want to get that Metropolis because I have no knights protecting my other city, but I do believe that the Barbarians will be defeated. I think we are leading in knight strength with all the knights combined, because now, for whatever reason, Green decided to activate all their knights. Maybe they had Warlord earlier, or maybe just a bunch of wheat coming in. But because of Merchant and because of 2 coin with the trade bonus, I am able to trade in for 4 paper, get the Green Metropolis, protect my other city, and not have to be worried at all if the Barbarians invade or not. Because of course, when you have a Metropolis on a city, the Barbarians cannot destroy that city. So let's say you had my setup with 2 Metropolises on 2 cities and no other cities. You could just not even bother activating any knights that you had previously built that were still on the board. You could just be like, whatever, just stay deactivated knights, because when the Barbarians come, they can't touch this city because it has a Metropolis over it. It's an impenetrable fortress from their Barbarian ship. And their little pirates that hop out of the ship with their little swords and whatnot. It's like they have wooden swords and they're trying to hack away at a titanium Metropolis wall. They're not going to get through. An 11 gets rolled. In a crazy turn of events, Purple is offering 2 coin for a wheat. I would take that if I had a wheat, but I don't. It looks like they wanted to, activate a knight or something. Oh, so they do have a level 1 activated knight down at the bottom of your screen on the 6 lumber. So that level 2 knight that they stole from me, they were able to put a level 1 knight on one of their intersections. So confirmed. That's how it goes. Victory is ours, and Green should be getting victory point. Yes, indeed. They had the most knight strength. A bunch of cards go out to those guys because I think that was a 9 that got rolled. I will get the science bonus. Take me 1 card. And now my next little strategy. You see at the top of your screen, I did build on that 3 or 5 wheat. Now to further expand, I want to go left right now, over to the lumber hex and the sheep hex that have not had numbers on them at this point. But I took a brick because I want to build roads over there instead of ships, because this is another little strategic move on my part. If the 7 gets rolled, then chances are someone could put the ship on, or I guess pirate ship, yeah, that's from Seafarer, so it is called the pirate ship. They could put the pirate ship on a water hex that is touching my ships. So I don't want that. I just want to build a road because the pirate ship doesn't affect roads at all. So that way they can't stop my, building out with, roads and ships, but just roads with discovering those other hexes. So I don't want to be slowed down in any way from doing that. Now the only thing I do have to worry about is someone having diplomat and then taking an open road or ship off of the board. In this case, being that open road that I just built off of the 5 wheat, off of that settlement. But I'm pretty sure that diplomat is, only comes around every once in a while. So just that extra peace of mind that I don't have to worry about a 7 getting rolled and the pirate ship being placed on a water hex near my shipping system and kind of slowing me down from discovering those new hexes and putting numbers on them is just another small strategic move on my part to really hone my skills and get the finer points of the game down. So I do have 2 Metropolises, and this is kind of the curse of having your army spread too thin. You're trying to do too many things at once, and something is gonna kind of fall behind. So I'm trying to expand out to those new hexes. I'm also trying to get another city on the board on the 3 or 5 wheat. I'm also hoping that I can get the current Metropolis Metropolises I have to level 5 on their respective city improvement levels, because I'm still at level 4, so there's still a small chance that they could be stolen. So now that I have 2 Metropolises, I have to try to protect both of those 2. I have to get, over here on one side I have to get 5 cloth, and over here on the other side I have to get 5 paper. So we're really going to see what happens with that. But first, I was like, you know what, let me rip a number off of the main island here. So actually, in maybe just 3-player Greater Catan, I'm not sure if 4-player Greater Catan is different, but I discovered 2 numbers, and then it looks like Purple discovered a 9 and 11 down the bottom right of your screen. So instead of 5 numbers being generated randomly on these new hexes off of the main island, it seems that it's actually only 4. So I was wrong, but I somehow, for whatever reason, in other playthroughs of Greater Catan with computers, I thought it was 5, but I guess it's 4. So the 5th hex that you touch with a road or ship that is not on the main island, you do steal the number off of the main island. So like I said, I stole the 5. So now both Purple and myself will not be getting any more wheat off of that wheat hex. It is now blank. It does not matter what gets rolled. That hex will not produce anything. And once you steal a number from the main island, wherever you put it, you're going to want to build on that as quickly as you can, because remember, by ripping a number off the main island that you're built on, you're going to be hurting too for resources, not just from the player that is also touching it, that you happen to be screwing over. And here we go. Purple builds a settlement on the 9 brick, 11 ore. So I guess that's good planning for, later on. Hopefully their thinking is they get an inventor and they can get rid of that 11 on the ore and change it out for something better like a 9, because apparently they don't like 4s, because they gave me the 4, me and green. So maybe they'll just take a 9, or they might just take one of the 5s that I have chilling at the top left of your screen, because a pair of 5s, they're both mine. Yeah, no one else has 5. So you know what I'm gonna alchemist if one of my 8s is shut down? I'm gonna alchemist a 5. But if both my 8s are wide open, I'm gonna alchemist an 8. And what do you know? Purple has inventor right here. They steal one of my 5s, so the 11 is now mine. Whoop whoop. 9 gets rolled. Before that, I have to discard a progress card because I have 5 progress cards and it's not my turn. If it is your turn and you roll the dice and you receive a 5th progress card, you can hold 5 progress cards for the remainder of your turn. You just have to give one up at the end of your turn if you don't happen to use any, or chances are you should use one. If you have 5 progress cards in your hand on your turn, there's almost a use for any of the progress cards in any of the 3 stacks on that particular turn. I don't think I've ever had a scenario where I even had 4 progress cards and I couldn't really use any. That would be very, very rare to happen. They're almost, because they can be used in so many different scenarios and situations. So, merchant. Might get my M words mixed up. So I'll put the merchant on the wheat, and now I will wait for some wheat to come in, because I don't have that 5 anymore. I do have a 10 and an 11, and I don't see the 11 wheat getting shut down anytime soon, so I mainly put the merchant down now because I was worried someone else might have had a spy, and stealing the merchant is a very, very common thing to do if someone else has it. And of course, you know that when you play merchant, if it hasn't been played initially, if whoever plays it for the first time, that player gets an extra victory point, and then whoever uses merchant and then steals merchant from someone else, they cause that player to lose a victory point, and they themselves gain a victory point no matter what hex that they put, or resource hex that they put merchant on. So very, very, just a very, very good progress card. One of the top 5 in my opinion. I may have to do a video where I rank all the progress cards from best to worst. Let me know in the comments if I should do that. I actually have the physical game of Cities and Knights right here next to my editing area so I could really make that happen. No problemo. That would be more of a lot. Actually, I could still take the video on my iPhone because this iPhone 10 is just very good in terms of recording audio, recording gameplay, recording generally decent 1080p video. Okay, I roll a 7. I'm gonna put it on. Yeah, it was either the 6 or the 10. I put it on the 6 lumber because I'm worried that purple might be trying to steal my green Metropolis. That's I don't know what exactly they may. Well, yeah, they do. They do have level 4 on the Green City Improvements, so they are a short 5 paper away from taking my green Metropolis. But I have 2 paper in my hand. If I can get 3 more, then I can secure the green Metropolis forever. But I have to wait for more resources and commodities to come in. So I'm hoping for an 8. And what do you know? An 8 does get rolled. I get a diplomat. I have 3 paper. I have 2 ore, and I've had the ore port since the beginning of the game, so I can 2 for 1 the ore for a 4th paper, and then I have a merchant in my hand. I can put the merchant on lumber, and then 2 for 1 it, but I get a paper stolen from me at a critical moment when of all the resources and commodities I had in my hand, of course, them displacing the robber off their hex with a knight and putting the robber on me steals the 1 card they needed and the 1 card I did not need to be stolen from me at this particular moment. But it looks like they're nowhere near to getting 5 papers, so they will not be stealing the Metropolis just yet. So it is still within reason that I will be able to secure it away permanently for myself. Let's see what green rolls. A 3. Oh, I actually do have a 3. I do have to discard a progress card. I'll get rid of wedding because at this point, have a good lead on everyone else. I'm at 13 victory points, still 7 away from winning. And keep in mind, in just cities and knights with no seafarers, just on the first island, you only play to 13 victory points. And green just uses 3 progress cards so fast, I barely even saw what happened. So they spy one of mine and then use it immediately. So what do you know? But I did get road building. They didn't take road building. I love the road building card. Green does get science bonus at this point, but it's the computer. I'm not really worried about it. They're in dead last, so they'll probably stay that way. I don't see green building more than like 14 victory points by the time someone wins this game. So I take a nice look at some progress cards with spy. And I go ahead, Bishop, actually they're all really good. Bishop, well, Warlord for me is not good because I don't have any knights on the board. So Bishop or Medicine would be the ones to take. I do take Bishop because I am hoping to get some good cards from other people so I can secure that Metropolis away. I do use Diplomat to take away a road from green there. I use Bishop. I place the robber on purple and green at the same time on the 10 ore. And you saw that I took a coin and a wheat. So, actually, I could put away the green Metropolis forever. Two coin with the trade bonus, 2 for 1 for a paper. I could put the merchant on lumber. So I could 2 for 1 all 4 of my lumber for 2 more paper. And then, of course, 2 ore for a 5th paper, and we have it. So, I do all that trading, I get up to 5 paper, and now the green Metropolis is mine forever. No one can steal it, no matter what. I actually take longest road as well on this turn. I wasn't trying to, I was just trying to get to that brick hex so I could steal another number off the main island. I'm going to take the 4 over an 8 at this point, because those 8s have been really good for me this whole time. You know, I am prepared if I lose an 8, because now I have 2 settlements off of the main island, so I'm in a good spot. I have 2 ore and a wheat, so I'm really hoping I can get a city on one of those settlements and really rock and roll for the last, three quarters of this game, or we're 3/4 of the way into the last quarter of this game, I should say. I know I have longest road, or longest shipping route, technically, but I understand it can be stolen from me at any time very, very easily. All the other players are kind of neck and neck with road lengths or shipping lengths, so I'm just going to keep focusing on getting more cities on the board, getting more settlements on the board, trying to get 5 cloths so I can secure my yellow metropolis, and that should really take us to victory, because right now it really looks like we're in a very, very good spot to win. Purple is still a human player. They're still hanging in the game, even though they're way behind. They are 8 victory points behind. They are an entire 13 victory points away from winning. It's like they just started a match of Cities and Knights on the first island. So it's going to take a long time for them to catch up. Perhaps too long, because I'm that far ahead. But again, longest road being taken from me will pull me back down to 13 victory points and boost another player up by 2. So we'll keep an eye on that, see what happens. I'm really hoping I can get that yellow metropolis secured away permanently forever, like I did with the green metropolis. But again, we just need some actual good rolls coming in for us. A 7-digit roll. I'm gonna steal from green. I get a free city wall with engineer. I'll go ahead and use it. I don't have a bunch of resources. I only have 3 resources and commodities combined in my hand, so I'm hoping that some good numbers will get rolled in 8. Thank you. So that'll be 4 cards coming my way. Although paper is pretty useless unless I have at least 2 paper, so I can use the trade bonus and 2 for 1 it. At this point, I think green has maxed out the blue city improvements, so there's no hope of stealing that. So having the 2 coin in my hand will be again used for trading purposes. Purple goes ahead, steals my longest shipping route, so now they're kind of back in the game. They boost themselves up to double digits now, to 10 victory points. And we'll see if they build anything else on this turn. They activate a knight, and that is a level 3 mighty knight if I'm not mistaken. So I gotta kind of watch that. They might be in a good position to really get Defender of Catan a lot. But I think Deserter, well, it has to be, green has to be using it on purple because I don't have any knights. So in a greedy fashion, purple will only be getting rid of a level 1 knight, which they do. But because green already has 2 level 1 knights on the board, that level 1 knight that they tried to steal from purple just goes off the board and doesn't go to them. Okay, I rolled a 9. I don't have a 9, so that sucks. So we're going to have to keep waiting for some more resources coming. Every once in a while it does get stagnant. Thankfully, it looks like I have Bishop, and you already know where I'm going to put that. And both knights are deactivated on that 10 ore, so I don't have to worry about that for a little while. I will trade in 2 coin for another wheats, and it's city time off of the main island. So that is really, really a good thing to do. Get some cities on the new islands off of the main island, and you'll be set, because at this point 3 numbers have disappeared off of the main island, and you know that's not all that's going to be taken away. So having some cities off of the main island are very critical for this last part of the gameplay. Diplomat takes my ship away. Okay, so purple will be keeping longest shipping route for a while, but that's no problem. I gotta focus on other things right now, because later on, once I'm in a good position where I'm getting a bunch of resources coming in, I can just go ahead and steal it from them after I've built myself up to hopefully 16, 17, maybe even 18 victory points. If you are still with me, comment below that Dupinator should have 1 million subscribers for playing Cities and Nights, because no one else seems to be playing Cities and Nights as much as I am and posting it on YouTube. Just kidding. If I had 1 million subscribers, I wouldn't be able to reply to each and every one of you as I can do right now. So we'll just keep it at where we're at 225, if I'm not mistaken, at the recording of this video. I'm gonna get me some nice ore off that resource monopoly. And I still have my ore port, as always. My inventor comes out, and I take the 9, put it right on that wheat, and now every time a 9 gets rolled, I will finally get resources, because I didn't have a 9 for the longest time, so I had to use inventor and steal it back, because it was on my sheep hex to begin with, and then it got switched to a 4, and of course that sheep hex now has nothing on it. And I'm still not quite able. I could have gotten 4 cloth, but I didn't want to just get 4 cloth. I wanted to get 5. So I'm like, you know what? Instead of securing away my yellow metropolis forever, I'll just build a road and a settlement. So now I am on a sheep hex that will generate sheep for me once again on the 10. So we are really rocking and rolling here. I'm back at 15 victory points. So taking longest shipping route, which I'm very close to doing, will put me up to 17 victory points. Very, very nice position to be in. Of course, wedding, I have to burn cards. So now I'm just down to 2 cards. And I'm kind of getting worried now, because whoever has 5 cloth is going to steal my yellow metropolis if they are at level 4 on the yellow city improvements. So I'm in no position to defend myself from that. So we're going to see what happens here. A 3 gets rolled. I still have my 3 ore. Of course, no one wants to steal a 3 from anybody. So I'm pretty much guaranteed to keep that 3 for the rest of the game, unless I get inventor and switch it out for a better number. And then that 6, that pesky 6, that I still don't have and probably won't ever have, because it seems there's only 1 6 on the board, right? That 6, no, there's 2, the 6 lumber and the 6 brick. So inventor, of course, you can't steal 2s, 12s, 6s, or 8s, so there's really no chance of me building all the way over there onto that, on either of the 6s, so I'll just be content with drawing any resource of my choice from science bonus whenever a 6 gets rolled. 7 gets rolled, of course. My 8 lumber gets shut down. Mine and greens, I should say. So, taking a look here, in terms of Metropolis is, I have 2. Green has 1. Green is at level 4 on the yellow city improvements. They are 5 cloth away from stealing my Metropolis. I have 3 cards. I'm really hoping this doesn't happen, because I'm going to get pulled down to 13 victory points. And amazingly, purple with 0 Metropolises is at 12 victory points. So if you can be in the running for, first or second place without a Metropolis this late in the game, very impressive to have that going for you. Of course, they are probably very close to having their longest shipping route being stolen. I think maybe if I built 2 more roads, I would have it. Maybe 3. I roll a 7. I still am not getting cards. I'm kind of stagnant right now. It just happens every once in a while this late in the game with a lot of 7s getting rolled in the span of 5 or 10 turns. So there's really not much you can do with very little resources. Of course, your progress cards hopefully are still flowing in at a nice steady rate. So with inventor, I am going to upgrade that 3 on the ore to a 9. So now whenever a 9 gets rolled, I will be getting ore and wheat. And you know that the next city that I want to play on the board is going to be on the pair of 9s at the top of your screen. Let's see what purple rolls. I have resource monopoly in my hand, so if they roll a number that they benefit off of, I will keep what resources that they they get. I'll keep a mental note of that so that I can use resource monopoly to steal it from them. But they roll a 12, so back to science bonus for all of us, pretty much. Now, merchant, they pull me down to 14. They boost themselves ahead to 13 victory points. So you realize that not even 10, 15 minutes ago, I was at 15 victory points. I had a very solid lead. I had a very nice cushion ahead of everyone else. And all of a sudden, purple's tied with me. See, in Cities and Nights, anything can happen. And a 2 gets rolled. What is life? 2 is getting rolled late in the game. I'm just only getting really 1 card at a time because it's just science bonus and 7s for me, really, in recent turns. So I'm hoping for green. Oh, I roll a 8. Green still does not have 5 cloth in their hand. But I can't really get 5 cloth in my hand either. Unless I can use resource monopoly on just the right resource and take... If I could take 4 more ore right now. But even then, I would only have 4 cloth total, so that wouldn't work either. Man. We're at a crossroads here. Because if I get that Metropolis stolen from me, I'll get pulled back down to 12 victory points. Purple will be winning with 14, because it looks like green is the only one that's going to have a chance to steal it. And they'll get bumped up to 11 victory points, and all of a sudden it's a close game once again for everyone. Okay, all I can really do is I upgrade the pair of 9s to a city. I build another row on the board, get myself just a little bit closer to taking longest road. Science bonus / aqueduct. Per usual. If you've stuck around this long, seriously, that's awesome. We're an hour and 2 minutes in. We're just 12 minutes away from the end of this game. Greater Catan, you really gotta kind of plan out your day or your evening because you're gonna be sitting down for a long time. This is like watching a season finale of a Game of Thrones season. They really extend out the episode to over an hour, if I remember correctly from my watch through of that. A9 get trolled. I get a bunch of cards, but what do you know? Green had Crane, so they actually only needed 4 cloth, and they do get to level 5 on the Yellow City improvements, and they steal my Metropolis. What a bummer. Wow. This is just the worst. So, I'm back in second place with that stolen Metropolis. Stolen from me. I'm back to 13 victory points. But I am not out of this game, not by any means, because if I can take longest road, I'll bump back up to 15, and I'm looking to build another settlement on that 5 lumber at the top left of your screen. And of course, 7s are getting rolled like crazy here late in the game. And of course, even though green stole that Metropolis from me, you can't go off your emotions here late in the game. You just gotta keep shutting down you're the best player besides you, or if you're in second, you have to shut down first place just as effectively as you can. I go ahead, I use the pirate ship because I don't want them going onto that small island off to the bottom left of your screen and stealing more numbers off the main island and then keeping them just for themselves, and then building over on that small island and getting even more victory points. I will bank trade a 2 coin for a lumber. I'll build another road. I'm not quite yet able to take longest road, but that is coming very soon. So at this point, I still have some more cards in my hand. I still have resource monopoly. This turn is not yet over. I'm gonna do some more things on this board. I'm gonna build the settlement first. I could have built another road, but build the settlement, get the extra victory point. Worry about longest road a little bit later. We're still 6 victory points away apiece, me and purple away from winning, and I know that at this point, all the Metropolises cannot be stolen anymore. and purple has 0 metropolises. So if they can win this game without a metropolis, I'm going to be very impressed. But I just don't see it. I think they've kind of reached the end of the line here, end of the road. They can build a few more cities and metropolises and maybe max out at 18, but I don't see it. I don't see them getting to 20 unless they can get Defender of Catan. I mean, the Barbarians are about to invade. One more dice roll, they will. So they could get Defender of Catan once, and then maybe one more time after that. But at this point, 6 victory points this late in the game with all the cities and settlements I have out on the board, I don't know. I don't even know if the Barbarians are going to attack twice more. So we'll see what happens. And actually, they invaded, and purple did not, right? Yeah, they did not get Defender of Catan. I had to check back and make sure real quick. It's actually green that got Defender of Catan. Why is this game so neck and neck? I was ahead by such a good margin. Okay, I have 10 roads in a row. Roads and ships. Purple has 12. Longest road is coming my way. Longest shipping route is coming my way very soon. But before that, I have some good progress cards in my hand as well. I have science bonus, and I am going to build 2 more roads. So I would tie with purple, but then I'm going to build a settlement on that 9 wheat at the top of your screen. So that'll put me at 15. And then my very next road that I build will take longest road and then put me at 17 victory points. And then beyond that, oh, but I get that city first. Okay, that's very, very good. Good job, Dupinator. You're playing this game very well. So I throw a city on the board, then I throw 2 roads on the board. Now, being at 15, I'll get the settlement, and then I'll get another road after that, which will put me at 16, and then 18 victory points after taking longest shipping route. This game's looking very good for me. I'm back in the lead. I don't have that big of a lead, but remember, I have a Metropolis. Green has 2, but green is an AI, so I don't really see them, having a chance to win this game. Although, if some of you remember, you watched that recent Catan video of mine where the guy left and his computer actually beat all of us. That was a crazy game. I think that might have been... Was that Basic Catan? I think that might have been Basic Catan where I can't remember. I have to go back and look. But basically the computer just beat everyone. And I tried as hard as I could, but, I couldn't beat the computer. And usually you don't have to try that hard when playing against computers. But for whatever reason, if a human player leaves, the AI that they leave behind is on just expert, master, veteran mode, and they can be unstoppable sometimes. Okay, let's see what green rolls. A 2, so they're getting lumber and paper, and I'm getting a science bonus. Why are 2s and 12s just randomly getting rolled late in the game like this? I don't know, but that's how it goes. Green cuts off purple to get to that spot on the 3 wheat, and that sheep hex down there, the 12, and they get that port, that 3-for-1 port. So now purple's kind of in a bind because now they can't keep building out ships on that coastline on the main island down there. So they have to go on the opposite end of their longest shipping system and build some roads there. So I am in a very prime position to take their longest road. Okay, now it's off to me. I had 12 cards. If I roll a 7, I'm burning them, but thankfully a 3. Oh, I don't have that 3 anymore, so I can only get a science bonus. I take the ore so I can upgrade that city. Oh, actually, I can do both. I can definitely do both. So I'll build the... Oh, that's right. That's what I did. So I moved my ship, and then I build the settlement on the 9 ore and the 4 brick. And now I can just, in the same turn, upgrade that settlement that I built to a city. And now I'm at 17. once I take Longest Road, I'll be at 19. And then I'm 1 victory point away. I'm just throw a settlement down the board and win. And look at my hand of progress cards. I have Alchemist, Irrigation. The other two don't really help me right now. But I can Alchemist to 8. I can Alchemist to 9. I can do a 5 or an 11. All will be really, really good for me. And I'll use Irrigation. And even though I don't have Merchant right now, purple has Merchant, I should be just fine to win this game in the next turn or two. Okay, so purple went ahead, activated some knights, and that must have been a crushing blow to them to get that 3-for-1 port settlement spot stolen from them by green. So they're really trying to scramble to do some other things in this game. They keep in mind they've been at 14 for a while now. They haven't really gained any victory points for the past, I don't know, 10, 15 turns. So that just goes to show you not having a Metropolis, especially in Greater Catan when you play to 20 victory points, is a very big hindrance to your overall strategic gameplay. So they activate some more knights. It looks like they will be getting Defender Catan, either tying with green or getting a victory point from that. But I think it's just too late. I think it's going to take too long for the Barbarians to invade, for them to win a victory point off of that, and have to wait for a whole nother round of Barbarians attacking, because I'm just that close to winning. So I think instead of activating those knights and upgrading them, they should have been worried about maintaining their Longest Road and building more roads or ships to get that length as long as possible. That's what she should. So green rolled the 2. Now I'm waiting to see what they trade in. They get a lumber. They trade in 2 coin for a lumber. What else are they doing? Okay, now you see, look at green's, at the bottom right, you see that's their turn timer. Now they've traded in some stuff, but they're not offering any trades, but they're not doing anything at all. So at this point, I'm wondering if the game is frozen. And I'm like, really? Of course the game would freeze now or have a connection issues at this point, right when I'm about to win. And then their turn timer just goes away and nothing's happening. So I'm like, is this it? Is this really how this video ends, with not a conclusive finishing out to this game? If you look at the timestamp, we're 1 minute 13 seconds in. Oh, but it was purple, their kick timer went to 0, and they got either kicked from the game or they left. But I'm like, even though I've won and the game is credited me with the win, I still have to play this game out to the end, of course, all the way to 20 victory points, because I'm sure you guys watching Catan videos on YouTube rarely see anyone play to 20 victory points. So an 11 is rolled via my Alchemist, and then Irrigation gives me a bunch of wheat, and I'm really right there. I have the 3 coin. I can 2-for-1, 2 of those coin for a brick, and I'll build a ship over there, and then I can build another road at the top of your screen. So actually, instead of the settlement and a road, I'll build a city, and I can trade in all that wheat I have for a road. I'll build one more road, so I'll go from 18 to 20 victory points, and finally, after almost 75 minutes of Catan gameplay, I don't know how many of you stuck around for the whole thing, but we have done it. We've won the game. Wow. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to see any more Greater Catan specific Cities and Knights gameplay, let me know. I'll try to get some more of that coming your way. This was the 99th Catan video. Number 100 is going to be pretty special, so stay tuned for that. Take care.